This is the flag of New Zealand, and a few months ago I made a video about why there is another variant of the New Zealand flag. However, in 2015 that could all have changed because it is in that year that they decided that they were going to change the flag of New Zealand to a new design, a new flag for New Zealand. Now, the reason why they wanted to do this with a referendum, so asking the public to send in their own designs that would be chosen from, one of the main reasons for this was that the New Zealand flag is often confused with the flag of Australia, which looks really quite similar. And actually, you may have noticed that that wasn't the flag of Australia, but it's the other way around. So it's really quite similar in design. Now, in 2014, the National Party that was in power said if they were re-elected, part of their promise to the people of New Zealand was that they would have a campaign for a new flag. And in 2015, when they were re-elected, they launched just such a plan. And in a short space of time, over 10,000 designs were sent in by members of the public, hoping that theirs would become the new flag of New Zealand. From this huge number, a shortlist was made of just 40 designs that people could choose from, although I think we can all agree that this one really should have won straight away without any contest. The laser-eyed kiwi with the fern in the corner is frankly incredible, and I would love to have seen this flying at the UN. In general though, the designs featured one or more of 5 colours: black, blue, red, white and green. And some of the favourite designs for on the flag were the Southern Cross, which of course is featured on the current flag, the white fern. Another symbol of New Zealand that is particularly associated with the rugby team, you play in all black with white fern, and the koru, which is a great wave symbol that is important from Maori storytelling and mythology. So these 40 designs then were eventually also whittled down to just 4 designs, and they are as follows. Here we have a white and black fern. We have here a design with a red, white and blue with the Southern Cross and the fern incorporated. We then have a very similar design, in fact by the same designer, which replaces the colour of red with black on there, black being an important colour for New Zealand as already stated. And finally also a design with the koru, the great wave, in white and black. Really quite a cool design in my opinion. However, the government panel that was deciding on the flags decided to add in another flag because a petition went round online. It got over 50,000 signatures asking for this flag, the Red Peak flag as it's called, to be included. So eventually, the shortlist was made of 5 flags, and on the 10th of November 2015, the people of New Zealand were able to vote on which one they preferred. The question on that referendum was, if the New Zealand flag changes, which flag would you prefer? So the people of New Zealand had the choice between these 5 designs that had been sent in, and when they went to vote, it was this one, choice E, which was voted the most popular there. Although it was very tight, it got 41.64% of the vote. In fact, a very similar design that just exchanges the red for black got 40.15% of the vote, and the others all got quite a low percentage in the end. So these two were clearly the most popular choices of the two. But interestingly enough, when this question was put to New Zealand, which one of these 2 flags they preferred, the other one actually got more votes, getting 50.58% of the vote as opposed to 49.42% of the vote, showing that some of the voters that had voted for the other flag actually preferred the black design to the red design here. And so this became the flag that would be put up against the current flag of New Zealand to see if it would replace it as the flag. And that is indeed what we see happening. On the 24th of March 2016, this question was put to the people of New Zealand in another referendum, and this time it asked, what is your choice for the New Zealand flag? And they were able to choose between either this new design with the fern or the old design with Union Jack and Southern Cross, and the old design won. With 56.73% of the vote, those in New Zealand that voted in the referendum preferred the older design, the flag that has been New Zealand's flag for over a century, rather than this new design with the fern on it. Although it was really fairly quite close, I would say. Despite the fact that they chose to go with the old design, the new design clearly isn't that unpopular, and perhaps in the future we may see more referenda on such issues. But for now, this remains the flag of New Zealand. Now, an obvious question is, well, why didn't the flag change? If there was this government impetus to hold a referendum and people could send in whichever flag design they wanted and then vote on it, why did people decide to go with the older flag? Well, there's something to be said about an old design. It's something people already associate with New Zealand. Obviously, it was adopted a long time ago. It shows something of the country's history, with, of course, the British colonisation in New Zealand, ties to Britain, ties as well, of course, to Australia, whether that's a positive or a negative thing, and indeed the Southern Cross, locating it within the Southern Hemisphere, and as it's seen on several other flags, it's a popular design. It's also fairly straightforward, and it's a simplistic flag, which is sometimes a good thing, but it's not. Too much like a logo, which is some of the criticisms that the newer designs had. Of course, various parties in the government were very much against changing the flag, particularly more conservative ones, which perhaps is not surprising given that they want to conserve the older flag and, indeed, the meaning and the history behind that flag and what they associate with the flag. A lot of the new designs incorporated Maori symbols on them as well as ideas of republicanism. By getting rid of the Union Jack, you'd be getting rid essentially of the symbols of British rule of the past of New Zealand, and that of course is quite a political thing to be doing. So different people on different sides of the political spectrum may think differently about that. So is there any chance that in the future there may be a change in the flag? Well, it is quite possible. 43% voting for a new flag was quite substantially higher than the 20 to 30% that had been expected in polls beforehand. So actually, people were more receptive to a new flag than many professionals had thought before the referendum, which is quite interesting. Although obviously it was not a majority, and there was quite a lot of criticism for the way that the various referenda were handled in this case. So for now, it's unlikely that in the near future, New Zealand will once again change their flag. This has to come from a political move by one of the political parties, and because it failed, of course no political party will want to attach themselves to something like that if they don't believe that it will be successful. But who knows what the future holds. One thing that was mentioned at the time was that if New Zealand were to become a republic, of course now it is part of the Commonwealth nations, that then perhaps changing the flag would be in order to show us further distance from the United Kingdom and that colonial past, and perhaps to embody some of the new New Zealand as they would see it. And this perhaps, they said, would happen after the end of the reign of Queen Elizabeth, and unfortunately, of course, that Queen Elizabeth died in 2022. We now, of course, have King Charles III, but perhaps this then will be an impetus for future politicians in the next few decades to bring this issue back up and for New Zealand to vote on the new flag. But let me know in the comments below, do you think that New Zealand should change their flag? Which of the designs do you like? Have you made a design? And if you're from New Zealand, why do you think that it failed? Was it a big thing at the time? Did people really engage with it? Was it incredibly poorly handled? And is that why you think it didn't work? Or do most people, the silent majority, actually just prefer the flag as it is and don't feel the need to change it to reflect a different New Zealand? But it's an interesting thing to consider, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below any thoughts, feelings, criticisms, opinions, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you all very much for watching. I have been The Last Historian, and this has been the very recent flag history.